The grant funding from Coffee by Design has created a new experience in the studio to allow the participants to experience creating a public installation work of art, and created an opportunity for them to work collaboratively as a team in creating the piece of art.
The grant money is allowing us to carry out our encyclopedia project, which is another one of our big anthology projects. It's basically a citywide community-based literacy project. So through the encyclopedia project, we're offering a variety of programs to thousands of kids at our writing center and at schools all throughout southern Maine, where kids are learning about what an encyclopedia is, thinking about what kind of writing is included in an encyclopedia, and creating their own really innovative, wacky encyclopedia. Coffee by Design, they're real leaders in the Portland community because they combine business and philanthropy in a way that I don't see a lot of other small businesses doing. And so it's just really amazing. I know they support the Telling Room, and we're hugely grateful for that, but everywhere I go in town, you know, all the nonprofits that I frequent and all the galas that I attend and different things like that, Coffee by Design is always there. You know, their logo is stamped on every poster, their coffee is at every event, and you know, they do that because they love Portland and they believe in Portland and they believe in organizations like us. And I think it's a huge deal that they have the business model that they do, and I'm really grateful that they support the Telling Room.
I've been drinking coffee since I was about 7 years old. There is a coffee shop in Brunswick that was right on Main Street, and they kind of had the business, and for whatever reason they chose to move off Main Street. We were thinking about starting a business, and I liked coffee, and really it was as simple as that. I started working with Coffee by Design from the get-go. It was in the summer, I think, or fall of 2004 that I approached them. And I knew them because I was living in the West End of Portland when they first opened. So I used to go in there and we recognized each other. And I knew that Coffee by Design wasn't being sold in our town. And I had talked to one of their other wholesale clients, Cafe Creme, who was already up and running, and said it was great working with them. So I contacted Alan and Mary Allen, and then I've been working with them ever since.
I've been a trade partner with Coffee by Design since the end of 2005, when I purchased the Gorham Grind in December of that year. The only thing I knew going into business at that location was that my coffee would come from Coffee by Design. I had spent a number of years prior both working in and managing one of their stores in Portland, as well as prior to that serving them as a vendor. I used to sell fresh Samantha juice to Coffee by Design. And as a matter of fact, what led into my desire to work in the coffee house business was the feeling that I got in an overwhelming way from the folks at Coffee by Design, which was a real sense of pride of place and a real sense of a desire to want to be a resource for the community. To raise awareness of coffee, absolutely, and equally as important was to offer a third space for folks to gather.
I've stayed with Coffee by Design, and they've stayed with me too, because it hasn't I've had, as any small business has, I've had some extremely lean times, and I've had to work things out with them, and they've always been really generous in just making the terms workable for me. So that's one reason, but that's not the biggest reason. It's funny, I over time I've met with a couple of people who are looking to start coffee shops or buy coffee shops. And when they're not already buying from CBD, and if they're in an area where I know that CBD isn't a retail presence, I can encourage them to at least take a look. And the reason is that when you work with Coffee by Design, the resources are, not only are you getting the best coffee, because these guys are just perfectionists about how they roast coffee, and where they buy it and how they source it, as I saw when I went with them to Costa Rica. But they have an enormous amount of resources that if you're a loyal wholesale customer, they are very loyal back in terms of sharing their information and giving you advice, and that has, so I sometimes I feel like, even though I'm a solely owned small business, in a lot of ways I feel like we're part of Coffee by Design, because I never get the cross-eyed look when I ask for help or for somebody to come up and visit or fix a machine, or just when I'm working on something new for the shop and I want to talk to the general manager or the owners, within reason, because they're really busy, they're always available.
What's unique about Coffee by Design's approach to their wholesalers is that they absolutely care about what ends up in the cup. And there has always been a feeling that if I didn't know something, I could ask. And there's been an open door for me as a customer, and I think for most people, whether or not they have a business relationship at the wholesale level with Coffee by Design, to be able to visit the roastery and to be able to talk to someone, whether it's Alan or Dylan or anyone in the roasting crew, about country of origin, about the technical aspects of roasting. That has been the most inspiring part for me, because I work best when I know exactly where all the moving parts are, even if I don't exactly know why they move. It helps me sell better, it helps me feel more comfortable about what I do. And those resources have always been there, and I think the most exciting part about the Diamond Street expansion is that those resources are now here in spades. There are multiple different brewing methods available to the baristas in the front of house. There are obviously state-of-the-art new roasting equipment in the back of the house, and all that does is it really enables the end consumer and the wholesalers to how to get the best cup. All those variables can be identified and played with.
It's a 44,000 square foot building, and we had to really look at, number one, was this the right move for us as a company? Did we actually need all this space, and actually work with the city, because the building had many elements that needed to be brought up to code? Is it something that we actually felt good about? Was it a property that we felt that we could grow our company into? And would this be the last move for us as a company? That was important, because we knew we would maybe be using half of this building. But the goal was, we want to stay a Portland, Maine-owned company. We want to have room to expand. And this building, the more we looked at the checkoff list, it was everything.
When I was first invited by Mary Allen, to go to Costa Rica, my first thought was, I don't think I can afford this. And I didn't realize what they were asking. And after I talked to them some more, and they told me that they wanted to start bringing some of their wholesale clients to the source, I realized that was okay. And so I had something I had talked to Alan about quite a while ago, about someday going with him on one of these trips. And they called me and they asked me if I'd like to go. And, you know, aside from clearing it with my family, it was a no-brainer. And I think the thing that impressed me the most, I've been to Costa Rica before, so I knew the country a little bit, and I, like a lot of people, I love it down there. But in this day and age, I think even educated customers, they really don't know what the cost of coffee is. And so when we as business owners, you know, anguish over raising the cup of coffee a dime, I don't think that they understand that all the time, some do, that our costs are, you know, 2-3 times the cost of what they're paying retail for just, you know, Hannaford brand or, you know, some of the larger brand coffees that aren't really going for the premium estate blend coffees. And then when you go down there and as a purchaser of whole beans, you go down and you see why they want to be so transparent and how transparent it is and how well every piece of the process in terms of the environment and the people are treated and how meticulous these places are that they're dealing with. Then you start to wonder, how do you even get it for that much money? So, you know, that I don't really know anything about roasting. I don't roast. And so the whole process of the bean in milling it and the different grades of bean and what the bean looks like at different levels of quality, that was all brand new to me. So that was great. But I feel like much more comfortable now if I have a difficult customer who complains about a price increase, and I think I could talk to them fairly informed that this is the kind of coffee we buy and this is what's involved to get this coffee and it's your choice. And so far I haven't had to. I mean, Coffee by Design has a really good name in our area, and our customers typically understand when we've got to do some things. So
in the middle of 2013, I got a phone call from Mary Ellen and Alan, both on speaker, and I was wondering what the heck was going on. And I was honored to be invited to visit a country of origin. The farm is called Hacienda La Manita in the mountains outside of San Jose. And it really took me aback, because I know that Coffee by Design Management has been going to country of origin for years for various different reasons. And this was, I know, a long-standing dream of theirs to be able to extend this to people beyond their immediate staff. And so it was a fairly emotional phone call. It felt like definitely a benchmark had been reached, I think, in a lot of ways. And of course, I was overjoyed for the reasons that, for the same reason that inspire me to come to the roastery and figure out what the variables are. You know, my gosh, here we go. We're going to figure out and get to witness what happens on the farm. So, huge deal. I was sorry I didn't have more Spanish under my belt. What I took away from that, sort of the general point that I've been making to my customers, is that there may be 20-something steps between tree and cup, and each of those steps may have between 4 and 25 people involved. And so the amount of work is breathtaking, and the amount of resources, time and energy that have been invested back into the land and those employees by Distant Lands and the La Manita management is really inspiring. You know that there's a lot to the phrase fair trade when you see that kind of an operation. As I said, when I was in sales and I was visiting different markets, cafes, and campuses, I was developing a bit of a greatest hits list as to what my business would look like and what was working for me in terms of vibe and in terms of what was in the cup. And CBD always had a stellar feel to it, and I was treated always with respect as a vendor. I was most impressed by the fact that the folks that I dealt with always wanted to make it work. they weren't necessarily interested in the hottest, latest brand. They were interested in the long-term commitment to whatever vendor, whatever relationship they had created, which was really a breath of fresh air in my line of work, and it stuck with me. And I knew that that's how I would be treated if I were buying coffee at the wholesale level. And that's why I knew that before I knew where I was going to be in business. In fact, it was a 3-year process between my quitting my day job and getting open in Gorham. There were a lot of location options, and the one thing that didn't change was my feeling that they were the right trade partner, and that has that relationship has only deepened in the years because obviously the product is top notch, and their commitment to how that product gets to market is bar none.